On today's episode, creating prospects on demand.
This is the 365 Days of Multi-Level Marketing Journey to Freedom podcast with Rome Batchelor, where Rome shares his daily journey from down and out to total financial freedom in 1 year, along with pro tips, tricks, strategies, and tools to help you join in on the journey. Now, here's Rome with today's Journey to Financial Freedom podcast.
Years ago, I called a gentleman on the phone. He was a prospect for somebody I had sponsored and was working with. And he said he was not looking. He was, satisfied with what he had going on. 6 months later, approximately, I go to the convention and the cat's on stage. He got sponsored by somebody else on another team, and he grew quickly. Turned out he joined like a month after we talked to him, and he passed me. Talk about feeling frustrated, angry, upset, offended even to a degree. It was traumatic, and my new purpose in life at that time was, I'm going to pass that cat. By the way, his name was Mo. I'll never forget Mo. So, what happened? Well, I'm not really sure because I don't remember the script I used back then exactly, because it's been over 20 years ago. I will tell you, however, though, that in my journeys to discover why these things happen so they don't happen anymore, I have become a student of this profession. That's a pro tip right there. Become a student, and I have absorbed like a sponge every training, every tidbit, every nugget of wisdom I could get from my upline, from leaders, from books, tapes, CDs, and downloads, and courses that I've purchased for hundreds and thousands of dollars throughout many, many, many years, in fact, decades now. And one of the things I learned that has been so helpful to me, I want to share with you today. This is a serious pro tip you'll want to write down. And according to such people who are smart and know these things and study such things, that in order to participate or control or be a part of a conversation, you have to have some level of disagreement. There has to be some level of disagreement or at least a different perspective. Otherwise, you have nothing to bring to the conversation. It's just yes. You're right. You have to have a different perspective or some level of disagreement to participate in a conversation. How does that apply to what we do? So when you prospect, I remember one time being with one of my uplines, who happened to be somebody in my family who was not succeeding very well. I was actually doing better than they were. And we went to a family reunion. And I cringed when I heard this person who I loved, respected, and cared about say to a small group of people gathered around as we were talking, tell them, you know what you need to do? You need to join such and such company that we're doing. And I cringed because it just didn't come off good at all. It was bad. And I knew it was not effective, and I saw the look on the faces. And I felt embarrassment for the person. So when I came across this one, that you have to have some level of disagreement to participate or control a conversation, I learned the lesson that when you're prospecting, you do the opposite of what you think you need to do so they can give you some form of disagreement or a different perspective. So instead of telling them why they need to look at what you're doing, you do the opposite. You give them an excuse why they don't. And I'll give you an example, really. You brag on what they do. you brag on what they do. See, if you go to a doctor and you say, it's kind of obvious, but you meet them somewhere in your life, or it's someone that you're being introduced to, and you say, what do you do? And they say, well, I'm a doctor. I'm a medical doctor. And you say, wow, that's awesome. I heard that not only do you guys make a ton of money, you have, get to have great vacations with your family, you get to provide for your children, but it's the most fulfilling job on earth because you actually not only change lives, but you save them. Man, that's probably the best job on earth. And they might say, you're right, but I don't have time with my family. I'm on my third marriage. I love what I do, but part of my life is suffering because of it. And because you didn't attack what they do, you got to hear the truth of what they really feel. See, in order for anyone to make a change or to consider making a change in their life in any way, there has to be some area of dissatisfaction. That's why people change jobs. That's why they change entire careers. That's why they move out of their home to another home or another geographical area. That's why there's divorce. That's why boyfriends and girlfriends break up. Because there's areas of dissatisfaction. And unless you can get that out, and here's the key, they have to say it, not you. You can't guess or assume. They have to say it. And when they say it, that's an open door for you. You can go turn around and tell that doctor the opposite thing, which is the wrong thing, and say, man, you're a doctor? That sucks. You guys get more divorces. You actually have a lower lifespan than the general population because you, for who knows what reason, you take your drugs and it kills you. I don't know. But you guys are, it's terrible. You have divorces and you die young. And you never have any time hardly. I wouldn't do that for $100 million. The first thing they might do is punch you in the face, or they might walk away. But definitely they don't like you right now, if ever. And they're certainly, more than likely, they're going to turn around and defend it. And they're going to say, man, you realize how much money I make? Do you realize what I get to do to provide for my family? Do you realize what kind of vacations I take and how much fun I have? Do you realize the toys I've got? Do you realize that I save lives almost every day of my life, or many days of my life? I'm saving lives, and at least I'm changing them every single day, and I'm improving lives. You're an idiot. This is a great job. I've got the best job in the world. I feel sorry for you. They're not going to like you or be open-minded. You're not, if they are dissatisfied, you're not going to bring it out by telling them that their job's bad. You have to turn around and brag on what they do. And what that does is it lowers defenses and it allows people to be transparent. And in order to participate or control a conversation, there has to be brought in a different perspective of some type. You now have opened the door for them to reveal any area of dissatisfaction if it exists. And they might say, I'm not satisfied. It's great, but it's not what I hoped it would be. The regulations are killing us. And that now is a prospect that might be open-minded because you've created a bridge. When they reveal their area of dissatisfaction, that they created a bridge. They've opened a door for your prospect in question. You can go to the exact opposite of esteem, and you could go to a night worker at the local convenience store who in the hood, and you could say, man, got it made. And they're going to look at you like you're crazy. What do you mean? Man, you work for Exxon, man. One of the biggest companies in the world. I heard their benefits are awesome. And it's probably a low stress job, so you got it made, man. Some people just got it made, don't they? And they're going to turn around and tell you, man, are you crazy? I got people shootings outside here, gunfire. Didn't you hear about the person that worked at our other store got shot last year and killed? You know, I don't think this is a great job. And you know what? I'm stressing over money. I don't make a lot of money, man. This is not all that. I'm looking for something else. See, you got to the area of dissatisfaction. Not out of your mouth, out of their mouth. You don't tell them. You don't come from an ego place. You come from a building up place, and let them tell you. And you know what? Even if they are satisfied, they still may be a prospect for your product. At least you'll know which direction to go in. Or you might ask them for help. You know anybody who's looking? I'm expanding the business, and I was wondering if you could help me out and take a look at what I do real, if I send you a short little video to look at and see if you know anybody might be a fit. We're doing some expanding right now, our company, and we're looking for just the right person. You know, if you said something like that to somebody who's totally satisfied, they might give you a referral, or again, they may be open to your product. They may decide to things may change in their life down the road because you're connected, and they may become dissatisfied at some point in the future. So the key here is you can go to the janitor and tell them how great they've got it, and they'll tell you they don't. You can tell them how bad they've got it, and they'll tell you how great they've got it to defend what they do in most cases. There will be exceptions. There will be people who will just tell you, but you are creating an environment with your choice and sequence of words that make an open-minded prospect or a closed. You're getting the door shut before you even begin, or you're getting the door wide open before you ever begin. So my challenge to you today in day 21 is to go out there as you meet people in your daily life. You can't use it on every phone script because sometimes that prospect, that you're not trying to have a relationship with them. You're just trying to throw out your script, and say what you have to say and ask your question. Then you could do that later if you like. But I'm talking about as you get introduced to more warm market contacts, as you meet people in your daily life, everywhere you go, you can ask people, what do they do? Or how long they've worked there. And then you can find a way to brag on what they do. Go brag on 25, 30 people's jobs, and then ask them, or their career, or their lifestyle, or you know what? Brag on, man, you have aged awesome. Somebody you hadn't seen in 25 years, you ain't looking a day older. Well, man, I feel it though. What does that do? It opens the door, if you have a health product, to a discussion about your health product. Give them some samples. So I wanted to give you some examples here, but go out there. I challenge you to find reasons to brag on people's health. Man, you have a lot of energy, man. I wish I had to, I bet a lot of people wish they had the energy you've got because you're taking your product. You better have some energy if you're in the health business, right? So, find a different product. But brag on the way they look, the way they're aging. You move around so good. You work so hard. You're in great health. I hope when I get your age, I feel like you do. Find a way to brag on people on how they are related to health, how they are related to their career, and let them reveal to you any areas of dissatisfaction before you even get into your prospecting. That's today's pro tip, creating prospects on demand. I know that will help if you apply it.
Thank you for sharing today's 365 Days of MLM to Freedom podcast. And remember to email your questions and comments directly to Rome at 365daysofmlm@gmail.com. And until next time, we want to encourage you to join in on the journey.